Hey guys, I am back another week. Holy cow. Are you tripping on this right now? Because I kind of am. So, we had some crazy weather last week. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to tell you about it last week. So, Danny and I woke up, I'd gotten back from New Hampshire. I was exhausted. We were laying in bed and, um, we didn't even know there were storms coming. We knew they'd been storms like the previous weekend and stuff because I was trying to drive home and chasing them, right? So we woke up to this noise Sunday morning, like, what is this noise? Like, what is that? Like, you hear this ping, 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 and I'm like, oh my God, Danny, that's hail. And the next thing you know, it's louder, and you're like, holy shit. Like, this is serious, right? And then I go outside, I go outside and I turn on the lights and I'm like, oh my God. And I step back in the door because I almost got hit with a piece of hail. Y'all, Danny says I over exaggerate, but that piece of hail that I picked up, the big one, had to be the size of a racquetball, easily. Danny says it's a golf ball. I say a racquetball. I've held a racquetball in my hand and I've held a golf ball in my hand. It was totally a racquetball size. It was huge. Now, most of the other stuff was like golf ball size, but still, that's like huge. And so, fortunately, our cars are in the garage. I don't know how people do it, right? I don't know how people do it. Like, maybe they just don't have enough room in their house, but I have a car that goes in the garage. So put your cars in the garage so you can protect them, right? It's important. I get it. Like, kids can't, right? The kids that live with you can't. I have friends that had so much damage to their cars. And fortunately, Gage and Braden are in their own house and they have a garage. But their stuff wasn't that bad. It was just like little stuff. But it's so weird how it was real bad, like right here, and then 6 blocks away it wasn't bad at all. So we got like the hard stuff of it. And I'm telling you, like 4 hours later, you talk about hustling. These roofers were at the doors at like 4 hours after this happened. And it hit about 7 o'clock in the morning. And I remember saying something the night before to Danny. I was like, can I just sleep? Because like it was Super Bowl Sunday, right? And we actually turned the game on. We didn't go anywhere, but we made some steaks and stuff and hung out, and I got some work done because we had our huge launch for GLPX. And oh my gosh, like I was like, can I just sleep till I wake up tomorrow? Because I'd been in New Hampshire, I'd set an alarm every day, all the things. And he was like, absolutely. Bam, 7 a.m. we're up. I was telling him later, I was like, what a shitty way to wake up on a Sunday morning, right? It was dark and cloudy and stormy, and it was the perfect morning to lay in bed. Gosh, but we didn't get to. I have never experienced hail like that in my whole life. Not that big. So that was crazy town to me. And a little scary too, because you didn't know if it was going to come through your windows, and it wasn't just coming straight down. It was going in like every direction possible. Like I couldn't even believe it. I don't even know how like my umbrella outside wasn't torn apart. I know our neighbor's hot tub cover was torn up. Ours was fine. None of my terracotta pots outside were busted. I don't even know how that's possible, but everything was fine. We're going to have the roof checked, but our roof is like only 3 or 4 years old, so we should be totally good. So we're talking about the 19 hard things with David John Kay, and each week I'm going to go over what we've talked about previous. So the first week we talked about I make the call I'm afraid to make, and we talked about why that's so hard. The next week was I get up earlier than I want to get up. And that is always to me, that's one of the hardest ones, right? To get up and get things done. Because when I started this, I had a full-time job. I had 2 kids. Oh, wait, hold up. I had a full-time job. Most of the time we had 2 kids. Most of the rest of the time we had 4 kids, right? So it was hard. I didn't want to get up earlier, but I knew that I wouldn't have time for my business and my people to take care of that were my new clients if I didn't get up earlier. You know, a house, 4 kids, a husband, a job full-time, and a part-time job, and 2 dogs, and the house to take care of, like all of it. I didn't know I was going to put anything else on my plate when God brought this opportunity to me. But I did. And part of what I did was I got up earlier in the mornings, you know, and sometimes I stayed up late to be able to get stuff done. I had to sacrifice things a whole lot in the beginning to build this. But you know what? It was totally worth it. And every time it's totally worth it. And every time you go to bed, you go, okay, I feel like I got something done today, right? So the next one I want to talk about is, and this is a hard one too, I give more. This is 19 hard things I do to be successful. I give more than I get in return right away. Oh, to that. I give more than I get in return right away. Y'all, that is with any business that you start. You are always going to be putting in more than you get in return. You are always going to be working on talking to your clients, helping them figure out what it is they need. And sometimes you talk to these people for months. There are some people that I've talked to for years before they order from me. And some days it feels like you're not getting anywhere at all. Some days it feels like, why am I even doing this? Nobody's even paying attention. Nobody's listening. Those are the things we tell ourselves, right? Because we're trying to give ourselves excuses to stop and to quit. Oh, you know, I've reached out to all my friends and nobody wants to do it. Bullshit. Bullshit. What's that little reel of that little kid? So inappropriate, but so funny at the same time. You haven't contacted all your friends. You haven't contacted all the people in the area that you live in because you're afraid to make the calls that you need to make, and you're not getting up as early as you should because you don't want to, right? So all of this falls in line. And listen, I've been there. I have totally been there, but I also know the reward that this company offers, that my work offers. I know the reward. So Danny and I talked about short-term loss, long-term gain for a long time. So I give more than I get in return right away. But this doesn't just go for business. This is like for people in your life as well. This is for relationships for a lot of us. What about when we have kids? I mean, so think about that for a second. That's actually an interesting thought. I'm gonna run down that rabbit hole for a second. So think about our kids. When they're little, we put so much more. We give everything. We give our guts, right? To our toenails for our kids. And we really don't get a whole lot in return aside from a few hugs here and there, or a smile, or a laugh, or a giggle, right, when they're little, because they don't really understand. It doesn't mean you don't invest that time, because you know in the long run, there's going to be something good that comes out of it. Short-term loss, long-term gain. That goes for parenting too. Your short-term loss is you don't have any sleep. You don't have any private time. You don't have any quiet time. But the long-term gain of it, well, I mean, let's go back to the short-term loss. You know, they make you freaking nuts balls and crazy. And when you have siblings, they fight and you feel like you're the referee all the time. But the long-term gain of it is really what I was talking to Gage about the other day. And I told him this, and I think I said this a couple of weeks ago. You know, he moved out, he's on his own, and I haven't had a breakdown yet. And the only thing that I can contribute that to, well, God for one, like, remember I have my note to say a prayer every time so I don't forget. Because it's easy for me to forget, to get busy and forget. But why would I be sad? I told Gage, I said, why would I be sad? I'm so proud of you. You know, I taught you, this is what I've trained you for your whole life. So the long-term gain is I'm the proud parent of a son who takes care of business, right? So short-term loss, long-term gain, I give more than I get in return right away. Isn't it always like that in life? Like, what else can you compare that to? And I think sometimes when you, like, I think it's very different having a brick and mortar business than it is having a direct sales business. And I think in the brick and mortar business industry, this is 100% true because you have to spend all the upfront money for all the products and before you start turning a profit, right? And for direct sales, you spend a lot of time with those people before they decide to order from you. But let's talk about your partners. Let's talk about the people that are on your team. I mean, if you're a leader and you're truly doing the things that you should be doing for your team to help get them rolling, it's 100% I give more than I get in return right away, right? Because you're constantly doing stuff. You're constantly putting stuff out there. You're constantly making sure that they have what they need. And you put a whole lot of time into those people before you can give them wings to fly on their own, right? Interesting. I don't know. This is just making me look back and think back to where I started. And I think that's one of the hardest parts about direct sales. But the same goes for everybody, right? Brick and mortar business, relationships, all of it. We all invest time with people. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it just doesn't. And I think we forget about the times that it does work out, but when it doesn't work out, it sucks. Like, it sucks. I've had people that come to me and they're like, okay, listen, I know you just taught me how to do all this 3 months ago, but I got real busy with my life and I forgot everything you taught me. So can you teach me again? Okay, sure. Yeah, we'll do it all over again, right? And that's actually happened multiple times with someone on my team, over and over and over. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Okay, I spend all this time with you, and then you do nothing with it because you're full of shit. And it's actually not that you're full of shit. You don't believe in yourself enough. You don't believe in yourself. And that's what your coaches are for, to help you believe in yourself. I think sometimes people say they want things and then they don't realize the kind of work that you have to put into it to get those things. And then it becomes not worth it for them, right? There's a lot that I've sacrificed. There's a lot of time I've sacrificed. And I've thought about that. Like, I wonder how much time in the last 8 years, 9 years that I've been doing this, coming up on 9 years. I wonder how much time I have spent with my face in my phone, giving more than I get in return right away. Probably a lot. probably thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. But you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't trade it for anything because those hours that I do spend, I can do them from anywhere. I can work from anywhere. I mean, that's the bonus of this, right? Short-term loss, long-term gain. The long-term gain is I worked my ass off. I'm still working my ass off. I'm building a team, and I can work from anywhere, and I can work from home, and I can lay in my pool for a little while every afternoon in the summer. I literally have it marked off on my calendar from like 1 to 3 every day in the summer, that's my time to lay in the pool. And I'm thinking about changing that. I know this is totally off the wall, but your best sunning times for your best tanning UV rays are from 11 to 2, right? And I never want to go out there before I eat lunch. So if I eat lunch at 12, I can usually be out at the pool by 12:30, and like 12:30 to 2:30 is good, but I always give myself that little leeway just in case, maybe I want to take a little nappy nap on my float. But most of the time I'm in the pool and I'm working from the pool. I'm talking to one of my partners on the phone. I'm utilizing that time. I'm talking to a potential partner. I'm talking to a client, whatever. But I always give more than I get in return right away. And you have to be okay with that in this business, because you have to know, you have to put your blinders on and quit thinking about all the things that you don't have right now, and think about what you're building for your future. What do you have for your future? What have you built for your future? We talked about this. I'm going to say this every week. Life is easy when you live it the hard way, and hard when you live it the easy way. Why is that? Well, the easy way, you don't make the calls you're afraid to make. You don't get up earlier than you should, and you don't give more than you get in return, right? That's the easy way. And so nothing friggin' happens. Nothing changes for you. Nothing happens for you because you're not doing the hard things. But just the simple fact that I make the income that I make working from home. Granted, it's not what it used to be a couple of years ago, but it's still more than I could make where I live doing what I do without a college degree. Period. End of story. Still more. And with our launch, I can't wait to see, what the payout is for that. It's going to be great. It'll be a great grocery trip. Do you know what I'm saying? It'll be a great little chunk to put in the savings account for a vacation. It'll be a great little chunk to put aside in case one of our kids needs something. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. This is about doing the hard things so when shit comes up, you don't have to go take a loan out at the bank. You don't have to go to one of those B loan companies that charge 64% interest. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go put it on a credit card. You don't have to get into credit card debt. You'll have the money set aside because you've done the freaking hard things that you need to do to be successful. Like, why is this such a hard concept? Oh, I just want to protect my peace. I just want to have self-care, like vomit. Do you really think that self-care, okay, let me rewind. A little bit is okay, right? We have to take care of ourselves. But do you really think self-care is going to get you where you need to be in life? Do you know what you could be using or doing with yourself or with your time, that all the time you spend with that self-care? I think that's like the biggest cop-out word on the planet. Self-care. Biggest 2 cop-out words on the planet. Used to back in the day, I'm just these rabbit holes. Used to back in the day, you'd go get your nails done or your toes done, maybe a massage once every couple of months, and that's self-care. And now there's people that are telling you that you need self-care every single day. that doesn't mean sit on the couch and turn your favorite TV show on and eat bonbons, right? Self-care is like, actually, they're Yasso balls now, not bonbons, and they're way better than bonbons. If you haven't ever eaten Yasso balls, you should go find them. They're like, they're Greek yogurt frozen, and they taste like ice cream, and they're fabulous. But I totally just lost my train of thought now. I hate when that happens. I totally hate when that happens. Oh, self-care. If you're sitting around the house eating bonbons, right? What are you doing for yourself? Now, if your self-care is oh wait, are you ready? Getting up earlier than you want to, so you take your ass to the gym to go care for your body so that you're healthy and you're making something happen, that's self-care. I also get taking some time to meditate and all the things. Like, I get all of it, but I think some people just take it to extremes, right? And they use it as a cop-out. Listen, there's no easy life. It doesn't matter if you have money or you don't have money. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I'm like, money doesn't make you happy, but it sure does make things a lot easier. But easy in different ways, right? So there's different things. Like, when you have money, then you have a different set of worries. Like, where I can't really say this. Well, actually I can, because everything we did was totally fine through our CPA. But the thing is, like, when you have money, you got to figure out where to put the money so it benefits you the most in your taxes and things like that, right? And so you've got 401ks that you can invest in. You've got your your IRAs. You've got, you can put it in money for your kids, accounts for your kids, things like that, up to $12,000 a year anyway. So you have a different set of concerns when there's money, but you don't have, like, how am I going to pay the electric bill? How am I going to buy these groceries? And so that's what this stuff does. If you start a side gig, like, if you don't have the money to start a side gig, then you need to figure out how to start a side gig, because you're probably one of the people that need it more than anything, right? All it takes, I hear from people all the time, well, I've tried to sell this and I've tried to sell that and I've tried to sell this and I'm just not very good at it. And I'm like, really? Is that what you tell yourself? You're not very good at it, or you're just lazy and you don't want to put the work in that's involved in a business? Like, what would you do if you went and opened a brick and mortar store? Would you just not show up to work? Would you just not go train your employees? Would you not interview people? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. And I get it. Everybody's different. Some people are born to be leaders, but I don't believe that someone can't be a leader. I don't believe that. I believe it's in all of us. I believe that we can all be great. But life's about choices, and what you are not changing, you are choosing. And you're the only one. You're hurting yourself, no one else. Can you imagine if we lived up to our actual potential, instead of listening to the devil in our heads and the BS that we tell ourselves on a regular basis? Do you know, for every negative thing that you say to yourself, it takes 11 positives to knock out that one negative? And like I said, I hear it all the time. Oh, I've done this before. I can't do it. So it's not a matter of can't, because everyone can. It's a matter of won't or will. You make the call you're afraid to make. You get up earlier than you want to get up. You give more than you get in return right away. I know I keep repeating those things, but isn't that what this is about? What if you tried? Like really tried? What if you really put the effort in? And what if you set things aside? Because here's the thing. Here's what I know. I know that if you pray about something and it's the right thing for you, God will make a way. 100%. You know, I've talked about this a million times when I first started this and it started growing and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do all this. There were some things that Danny took over, right? Danny took over the grocery shopping. Danny took over the, sending certain messages and reaching out to people and adding friends to my Facebook, my social media, cooking a lot of the meals. He took over a lot of that stuff. So I guess it's just you have to figure out what the sacrifices are. And you also have to figure out if you... This is probably going to come out wrong. But you also have to figure out if you have a spouse that believes in you enough to help you out. I was very fortunate that my husband believed in me in this. And I'm not saying it was always easy, and I'm not saying we didn't fight about it, and I'm not saying all the things, right? But he believed in me, and he saw the potential. And so he sucked it up, and he helped. Because we're here to support each other, right? I don't think marriages should be 50-50. Marriages should be 110 and 110. You give everything, right? That's just my personal opinion. I'm very fortunate that I have a husband that is supportive of this, because I would say that 80% of the women in this company, their husbands are not supportive. They don't help them do anything with it. And I personally think that's just selfish and sad, especially when you see someone you care about be so passionate about something. Like, isn't that your job as their husband or their wife to support them? I don't care what it is you're doing. It's your job to support them and cheer them on. And if you don't, why are you married to that person? You know? Because that's what it's supposed to be about. And I get it. Some people are just married for convenience because that's all they know. I don't ever want to be in anything remotely close to that kind of relationship. So I'm grateful for what I have. My husband is amazing. So once again, I give more than I get in return right away. Y'all, that's in everything in life. Everything in life. What are you willing to do to have things better? Think about that. Because you can make it better. You just have to choose to, and you have to do it, and you have to take action, and you have to execute. If you need to heal relationships, if you need to take care of your health, if you need to, grow a business, make some side income, these are the things that you can do. And if you have any more suggestions or comments on this, drop them in the comments in the podcast stuff, in Allison Unfiltered on Instagram, all of that. I mean, I want to hear what you have to say. And if you have something shitty to say, just keep it to yourself, because I'm not interested in all of that. But if you do have something positive to bring to light, then go for it. But, people that hide behind keyboards, those people make me sick to my stomach. There's some really mean people out there. I've seen some crazy stuff on people's reels, and it makes me really sad that people don't have anything better to do in their life. Like, they could be using that time to build a business, right? Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you very much. And I guess we'll see you next week. Peace out, homies. Take care. Love you lots.